So 3 months ago when Dragon Ball Super ended, I started this project called the Dragon Ball Cinematic Universe Project, where I wanted to tell my own stories using the Dragon Ball universe and having it mimic the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a sense where each movie would be sequential and have a meaning to the next movie, leading up to team-ups and all that. And I started with Piccolo, using Piccolo's short stint as a villain in the original Dragon Ball as the basis for the story, trying to avenge his father's death and facing off against Goku and realizing that he doesn't really need to destroy Goku, and maybe Goku's not such a bad guy, but he still hates him. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out that story first, I would urge you to do that, because these videos, this series is meant to be watched from the very beginning. That way you get a sense of where the story is going throughout the multiple movies. I'm going to be making movies for several characters. This one is obviously for Goku, and then I'm going to have team up movies and seeing exactly how I would produce a Dragon Ball Cinematic Universe and make Dragon Ball movies that are actually good. So I'm gonna leave a link in the description below for that first short film or video. Go ahead and check that out, watch that first, then come back here so you can get the next part of the story, and I'll continue with these as time goes on. I know it's been a large amount of time between these two, but I'll keep them more consistent. So let's go ahead and begin the story. Now, like my first video where I go into a little bit more detail, I'm just gonna brush it off here and say that I would like the Saiyan's ethnicity, because this is a live action movie that I'm proposing. I want the Saiyan's ethnicity to be Asian, to be Eastern, and that fits well with Chi-Chi as well. I want her to be Asian. And Piccolo, who's also going to be in this story, I would like to see him full CGI, similar to the way they did Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, with that level of quality. I don't want him to look like Cyborg from Justice League. So this movie begins the night before essentially Dragon Ball Z starts. Gohan's about to go to sleep and Chi-Chi is telling him a good night story, and the story she's telling him is about how his dad defeated so many enemies and was extremely powerful throughout his youth when he was younger, and how he could even transform into a great ape. And she's telling him all this stuff. She also tells him about the great ape's weakness with the tail, grabbing the tail, cutting them off, makes them turn back into regular sized again, and all that. And Gohan is really enjoying the story as a kid. He's idolizing his father. He thinks his father's invincible, and then she finally kisses him on the forehead and he goes to sleep. And Goku is going to be by the door, and as she walks out, Goku is like, maybe you shouldn't tell him these stories, because not only he might get nightmares, but you know, he's gonna be putting me on a pedestal, and I want him to reach for his own strength later down the line. And she's just like, oh no, that's just a good night story, it's no problem, you know. And then she kind of brushes it off, and that is gonna be how the movie begins. Now the next day we get Raditz's Saiyan pod coming to Earth and crash landing in this farmer's field, destroying everything around it. The farmer with the shotgun or the rifle, whatever he had in his hand, he comes up and he's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And then you realize that it is Raditz. He comes out of the Saiyan pod. The farmer with a shotgun comes, confronts Raditz, tells him, you know, put your hands up, all that stuff. And then he shoots at Raditz. Raditz ends up killing the farmer. No big surprise there. Very similar to the anime. And then immediately he gets a blip on his scouter where he feels a huge power level, considered huge for the planet. He even comments on how it would be even big compared to the some of the fighters in the Frieza Force. And then he flies instantaneously to the source and he finds Piccolo meditating. Piccolo feels that this huge power is coming, and before he can even react, or you know, before he even stops meditating, Raditz is right there. And so Piccolo has an exchange of words with Raditz. Raditz is talking about, oh, you're a Namekian, this and that, and Piccolo's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but if you're here to fight, you're not gonna like, you know, what's gonna come. You're not gonna like when I throw these hands at you. And then Raditz is like, all right, well, hit me with everything you got. And Piccolo's like, you know what, I will. And he shoots him with an entire huge blast, and this blast is going to be really, really cool looking. And then Piccolo's like, okay, you know, just like in normal Dragon Ball, I think I got him. And then you're gonna see that no, Raditz is still very much alive at the end of that blast. And then he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna take you out right now because you're not even worth keeping around. And he's about to destroy Piccolo, and then he gets another blip where he sees another huge power flying around, and it's not even that far. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and search because that probably is my brother. So he blasts off for that power, and then you have a whole scene where Piccolo's like, my power was inconsequential and this and that, and I've trained my entire life, and this huge threat, I didn't know there were fighters of this caliber alive. And remember, this is coming off of Piccolo's movie. The first movie in this Dragon Ball cinematic universe that I'm creating was Piccolo. I chose Piccolo specifically because I feel like he is an important character in Dragon Ball, and himself, he could pull his own movie, he could pull his own audience, and he's one of the characters that a lot of people that love Dragon Ball really connect to. So he is going to be largely huge in this story, and I feel like this moment is going to resonate a lot with viewers because you already watched the first movie and know that Piccolo is trying to earn strength to get revenge on Goku, but now he's been basically brushed aside by this new character, which essentially is Goku's brother. So he ends up going and being like, you know what, I need to take this guy down. I need to figure out how strong I am and if I could have withstood that blast. And he blasts off chasing after Raditz. So Goku and Gohan arrive on Kami's island, and it's the same interactions from the anime. You know, Gohan's really shy. They are surprised that Goku even has a son. They haven't seen him in so long, and Bulma's there. And for Bulma's character, this is my own casting for her because this is really the first time we're going to see her in the cinematic universe. She really wasn't a big part in my first iteration of this. I want her to be Caucasian. I feel like the best actress that we can get for this, with the blue hair and all that, it would be a Caucasian actress. The same interaction happens, the same thing happens from the anime. And then Raditz arrives, he lands, he starts going off about how, you know, Goku's his brother, you should have destroyed this planet a long time ago. And Goku's really shaken up because he can feel this guy's strength, and he realizes that he is an immense threat. And Goku really hasn't been training as hard as he could have. He's been really laid back. This will be the first time that we even get Goku kind of thinking. This is Goku's movie. It's going to be centered around Goku. So this is the first time we're getting Goku really thinking like, oh no, I've been laid back all these years. I know I started a family. You know, I wanted to be there for my son. And this guy, my brother, has come. He's been training his whole life, and he's been conquering planets or whatever, because that's what, you know, Raditz is going to be saying. And look how powerful he is. And so Krillin comes up and tells Raditz essentially, you know, get off the island, leave, because you have Goku all wrong, you're disrespecting all this stuff. And then that's when Raditz's tail does this thing, same as the anime, he just flicks Krillin goes flying into the house or whatever, a KO. And then Goku realizes that this guy is not messing around, so he jumps in, and we're gonna get a really cool fight of him fighting Raditz, and we're gonna realize that Goku is shoddy. He's not in his prime right now, so he's not as fast as, say, back in the first movie where he was facing off against Piccolo. He's making mistakes, and Raditz is making easy work of him and defeats him. Krillin finally wakes up from his KO and starts charging an immense Kamehameha, and this is going to be spectacularly. All the Kamehamehas, all the blasts, especially when they're charging, I want them to be of cinematic flair. I want it to be really cool looking, because I mean that's what we come for in a Dragon Ball, really, for the blasts and the fights and just craziness. So he's gonna be charging a Kamehameha while Goku's facing off against Raditz, and he tells Goku to move out of the way because I'm gonna blast him. And then Raditz, you know, being as fast as he is, he snatches Gohan and then puts him right in front of the blast, and he's like, oh really? And he's like, and then Goku's like yelling, it's like let go of Gohan. And then Krillin's like, you would risk the life of your own nephew? And then Raditz is like, I have no connection to him, and all this, you know, the same stuff that he was saying in the anime. And then that's when Krillin decharges his Kamehameha wave, and Raditz is like, you know what, I'm gonna take Gohan because I'm gonna teach him how to be a warrior. I'm gonna teach him how to be a savage, and I'm going to raise him right, because obviously you can't do that. But if you bring me the same ultimatum, if you bring me, I think it was like 100 human bodies or something like that, along those lines, or 1,000, whatever the number would have been, you know, to me at this location, then I will give Gohan back, and I will bring you back with loving arms and teach you how to be an actual Saiyan. And I do want Raditz to be going off a little bit on what the Saiyan race is, what they do, what a real Saiyan is, and that Goku is not a real Saiyan, and he's betrayed his family, he's shamed his family line, all that stuff. I do want the Saiyans in the cinematic film to be a little bit more on tradition and the strength, similar to how Klingons are in Star Trek. If you have seen them, I want them to be on strength, tradition, all that stuff. And he knows that Goku has affronted his family by not conquering the Earth and basically being, you know, a good guy, and he's done the same thing with Gohan, and now he's going to take Gohan with him. So in Raditz's eyes, he's doing the right thing for his family, and obviously Goku's not with that because he's taking away his son. So Raditz ends up leaving really, really fast, like so fast that you really couldn't, you know, catch him, and Goku's kind of beat up at this point. And the whole time throughout the entire fight, we're gonna see the camera's gonna pan right above Kami's place, and we're gonna see Piccolo just watching the entire, he was there the whole time. He was watching the entire thing unfold. He sees that Goku's extremely hurt. He sees that Krillin is distracted. You know, Krillin's not really going to be a factor because he's not really that powerful. So he starts charging up a huge blast with his one hand, really, really strong, and then he's going to decharge it because he's going to be like, the camera's going to pan to his eyes, and you're going to be like, yeah, he's going to be thinking like, nah. Maybe he'll have a flash of Raditz or whatever, and then be like, nah. And then so he lands. Piccolo ends up offering his help to defeat Raditz. He says that if the two strongest guys on this planet can defeat him, then Earth is doomed. And so he wants to team up with Goku to fight Raditz. And Goku is completely on guard, and he's completely on edge for a little bit, but then he realizes that, you know what? I think we can defeat him. I think with both our multiplied strength we can, but I need to get my son back. That is the #1 thing. And Piccolo realizes that Goku really, really is intent on getting his son back. And the actor who plays Goku, he's got to be talking about getting his son back like he's getting his life back, because Goku is completely 100% dedicated and in love with his son. That is what he's been doing the last several years, raising him, and so his thought process is that he needs to get him back. And Piccolo sees this, and he kind of thinks back to his own father and his own father issues. So, and he realizes that Goku may be a good father, but that's just going to be in his own head. He's not going to be saying all that. So Krillin offers to go, but Piccolo's like, no, we don't need you. You're just going to get in the way and stuff. And Krillin's going to be all mad. And then so they're going to go flying off, chasing off against Raditz. And the next scene goes with Raditz and Gohan at Raditz's pod. Gohan is yelling at Raditz, talking about how his dad's going to beat him up and take him down and this and that and blah blah blah. And then Raditz is going to go on a monologue explaining more, maybe giving a little bit more exposition on what the Saiyans are, what they do, what, you know, even after their planet was destroyed, they are working for one of the strongest beings in the universe, or the strongest being in the universe, and they're still, their values and their culture is still very much intact for the whoever survived and all this stuff. Because we have to have a little bit of exposition, but I don't want Raditz to be the only one, like just all his lines giving exposition basically. And Goku and Piccolo arrive to confront Raditz. Now, Raditz is surprised to see Goku, and he's even more surprised to see Goku. He didn't come with the dead Earthlings, and so at this point, Raditz is completely pissed off. He's completely triggered. He's realizing that Goku is not a Saiyan, not even close to being a Saiyan like he thinks he is. He is completely bringing dishonor to his family's line. He tells Goku that his father would be ashamed of him, all this stuff. All I want is my son back and you off this planet. Now, originally, this part of the scene, I didn't want Goku and Piccolo to take off their weighted clothing because I didn't want to add this weighted clothing concept into the movies, but I feel like I can add it in here. It could be more of an aesthetic thing, and instead of it being like, oh, their power level shot up, it could be more like they can fight better. So I'm gonna keep this scene in. Piccolo takes off his weighted clothing, and then Goku does. Now this is when Piccolo and Goku tag team and face off against Raditz, but as the anime goes, Raditz is overwhelming them completely and he is just knocking them out. Now this fight is going to be one of the more grounded Dragon Ball fights that I have here. No flying, no nothing. This is all on the ground, very physical, a lot of techniques. Raditz is going to be basically like a charging bull. He's going to be a juggernaut compared to Goku and Piccolo. Even though Piccolo is about the same height, I would say, as Raditz, Raditz is going to be bulky. The actor who plays Raditz is going to be huge, and so he's just going to be taking them out with his immense speed, and they're going to be quicker. You know, you're going to see that, unlike the fight earlier, Goku and Piccolo are going to be quicker. But remember also that Goku's a little bit injured from the previous fight, and Piccolo's going to note on this, and he's going to be like, I'm going to take the lead because you're still injured from earlier. So this fight is going to be a really cool tag team, and I do want it to be visually striking, but at the same time, it's one of the more grounded ones. Not that many beams, more fighting techniques, similar to, say, the last fight between Naruto and Sasuke in Naruto Shippuden, where they are out of chakra and they're fighting with just their fists, and fighting techniques similar to that. That's basically what I want. And so this is going to be a grueling fight, but Raditz is basically beating the crap out of these guys, and at one point he completely knocks Piccolo flying into one of the hills, and then he grabs Goku, throws him on the ground, and starts just beating the crap out of him. Gohan ends up exploding out of the ship and flying, headbutting Raditz, catching him off guard. And in this iteration, instead of just the crack in Raditz's armor, he's going to shatter it completely. It's just going to go flying off, and it's going to leave a sizable bruise slash indent, just a weak spot right in his chest. And Raditz going to go flying backwards into one of the hills, and then Gohan's going to be like all dizzy, obviously, because he just hit him on the head, and he's going to, you know, basically pass out. Piccolo's going to run up, and this is gonna be one of the first times that Piccolo really goes to check up on Gohan. He goes up to try to make sure Gohan's fine, and Gohan seems like he's good. As Raditz is getting up, Goku launches in, grabs Raditz by the tail, thinking that he's got him, and then Goku yells, "Now, Piccolo!" and Piccolo jumps in, tries to take out Raditz, and at this point, Raditz quickly knocks out Goku and chops off Piccolo's arm, and then they go flying. And Goku's like, "What? I don't know what happened. The tail, that's the weak spot." And Raditz explains, no, he's well past that weak spot. That is no longer his weak point. The tail is not his liability anymore. This is when Raditz starts going off on how weak they are compared to him, and how even he's not the strongest one in his group. There are two more Saiyans that are stronger than him. He's actually on the lower end, and he has a long way to go to reach them. And this entices Piccolo to start charging up the special beam cannon, and starts telling Raditz, well, if I'm so weak, then why don't you just take this head on? And Raditz is like, it is intriguing him a little bit, until his scouter starts realizing that the power in Piccolo's two fingers far is surpassing the power that Raditz can handle. Raditz is like, you know what, I'm just gonna dodge it. If you throw that at me, it seems like it's a technique that takes a lot of time. I'm just gonna go ahead and dodge it. And as Raditz is saying this, Goku just lunges on him, grabs him from behind, and powers up with whatever strength he's got left. So he is powering up. You see his ki just go flying crazy because he's using everything in his power to hold Raditz there. Raditz is trying to move, and he realizing that Goku really has a hold of him. So Raditz starts trying to power up, and Goku's yelling, "Piccolo, shoot him now! You gotta shoot him now because he's going to break free." And that's when Piccolo shoots the special beam cannon. And I want this to be spectacularly shot, following the beam cannon in slow motion. I want real intense music, and when it hits Raditz, it goes through him and hits Goku and goes through him. And once it hits Goku, I want the music to change completely, to be extremely sad, and it breaks right through Goku, killing Raditz instantly. Goku gets the least amount of brunt from it, but he ends up taking a mortal wound. They both fall back. Raditz is like, "Why would you do this, brother? You know, you could have been the most powerful Saiyan. You have the strength within you. You have it." Goku is dying also very slowly, and at this point, you know, Piccolo is like thinking to himself like, "Oh, finally did it." He's like, "I finally killed him, but this doesn't feel like I wanted it to be." Piccolo walks up to Goku to see how his condition is, and as he starts walking up to him, the scouter on Raditz's ear starts going off, and then we hear Vegeta, who's this character that's supposed to be Vegeta, and I want to get an actor that sort of sounds like Vegeta, similar to Christopher Sabat, so I do want that. And so I want it to be like an iconic voice, and he tells them, "Hello, Earthlings, you know, we have just gotten all the visual recording of the entire fight, and we are coming." And then the transmission cuts. And so Goku realizes that with his last dying breath that, you know, there's more to come. So he tells Piccolo that, "I want you to train Gohan. I know Gohan has it within him to be extremely powerful, to be strong. And there is a threat coming that is far stronger than the one that we face today. And so I want you to train him." And then Piccolo is just staring at him, says nothing. And then Goku's smiling. He's like, "I know you'll do it." And then that's it. Goku dies. At that point, the ending, that's going to be the end of the movie, and we're going to see you know, a plane drop down, and we're going to see Krillin and Bulma come out of the plane or whatever, and it's going to be a panning shot of the entire battlefield, and then it's going to go into the credits. Now, just like the last movie, I do want there to be an end credit scene to this, and so the end credit scene is going to be a little bit on the sadder note, because we're going to hear a door knock, and Chi-Chi's going to open the door, and Krillin's going to be at that door, and then that's basically going to be, Chi-Chi's going to be like, "Where's Goku? Where's Gohan?" And then Krillin's going to be there, and he doesn't explain it in this scene, but it's going to basically cut, and that's going to be the implication that, yes, he did explain that that Goku's dead, and Piccolo took Gohan. So that's going to be the end of the Goku movie, and that's essentially all I got. Let me know if you have any issues or anything you want to add to this movie, to this project, and any other characters that you think deserve their own movie in this. I do already have the next couple movies kind of set up in my head of who is going to get a movie in this timeline. I already did Piccolo. I have Goku now. I'm thinking I already know who's going to come next. So, you know, let me know what your thoughts are on this, on the Dragon Ball Cinematic Universe project. This is going to be BlackScape signing off.